Welcome to Shorr Solutions, the podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mara Shorr. I am one of the partners here at Shorr Solutions. And as I always say, we hope, your all-time favorite practice management consulting company. So as you know, the other partner is Jay Shorr, my father, not just my business partner, my father, but this episode is going to be a solo one. It's going to be just me. Today's episode is preparing for the successful holiday season here in your aesthetic practice. Now, some people, October, November seems a little bit early to be thinking about holidays. However, if you've been in any of the retail stores, you know that we really should have been thinking of them since, Labor Day. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started just with 5 quick tips to really jumpstart your holiday season and just make sure you're getting off on the right footing, right? So number one, if you haven't already, make sure gift certificates are all set up in your practice. Now, whether we're calling them gift certificates or gift cards, make sure that this is something you not only have available to your amazing patient base that will ask, send out something to promote it, i.e. e-newsletter, social media posts, etc., but make sure that you are logging them in your practice management system. I hear this all the time when I say, how are you logging? And people just say, oh, I'll put something in the notes section of my EMR. Don't just put it in the notes section of your EMR. Make sure that you're utilizing the technology that both your credit card processing system has and that your EMR has to track gift cards or gift card codes so that you're able to track expiration dates, the amount that's left, and that we're looking at that revenue as well. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, make outbound calls or texts now. And of course, when I say text, you know we're big on HIPAA compliance here. So HIPAA compliant texts, but make that outbound contact now to your VIP injectable patients, because the last thing you want is that they're going to be due in November for their neurotoxin, their filler, etc. And you're all booked up, because we think about it, that's almost like making a choice that you're choosing to let those patients go to another provider because they are going to want to be perfectly filled and filtered, right? In real life, perfectly filled and filtered for all of the holiday photos. So we want to make sure that you're calling your VIPs, anybody that we know they're going to be due November, December, even January, get them in, get them on the books. So whether they prefer a phone call or whether they prefer text, make sure that you're doing that. Again, HIPAA compliant. Number 3, any holiday events that you are remotely thinking about in person, online, sales, etc., get that flushed out now. You should have already had that budgeted. You should know what you did last year. So you should have that all on paper, an Excel spreadsheet, anything that your heart desires. But we want to make sure that everything is planned out. This should have been planned out already, but if it's not, now is the time. Think about your budget. What staff are you going to need? Which team members are going to need to work when, and extended hours, budget for overtime as overtime allows. Make sure, of course, that you're looking at your state laws for overtime, and check in with your vendors to see what holiday specials and promotions that they're supporting. So make sure you have as much vendor support for the holidays as possible. So we talked about gift certificates as number 1, outbound calls or texts for your VIP injectable patients. Planning your holiday event was number 3. Again, should have started about yesterday. And then we talked about number 4, which was alerting your vendors, asking what promotions they have going on. That ties in really beautifully to events, and getting your requests in HR regards now. So when we talk about getting in HR requests and your PTO, your paid time off requests, the last thing we want is at the last minute in the beginning of December or the second or third week in November, all of your team members are suddenly requesting off at the same time. Everybody wants Black Friday off. Everybody wants New Year's Eve off, or everybody wants Christmas Eve off if that's not something that you do for your team members. So I highly encourage, ask now. And we have one client that has said, look, I put this all up on a big whiteboard and have people work on this together so that they can see what sort of cross coverage we'll need for the practice. So if that is legal in your state, then of course that is something that works out really beautifully. because it becomes that teamwork makes the dream work mentality. And your team is really able to see what it is that you're going through. So I highly encourage that. If that's not something that you're comfortable with, make sure you let your team know how much PTO they all have left. Are they going to have to take PTO or unpaid PTO? And then you want to think about how many days are they able to take and when. But of course, we want to let them know when they need to let you know by and who on your team they need to let know. Is that the office manager, the practice administrator? Is that the owner? Are you all one person because you're a smaller practice? We understand. And so think about those things and put those time limits in place too. So finally, here's a bonus, and something that we're seeing is that this time of year, people are exhausted. Your team members are tired, guys. And you know what happens when we get tired? Maybe our hair isn't fixed quite as nicely, nail polish is chipping, we're not paying as much attention to eye makeup or smeared lipstick, things like that. So maybe dress code, things don't fit quite like they used to, even within our own team members. And so I would encourage everybody just do a quick dress code policy review. What is it that you expect of your team? You're going to have a really busy next few months through the end of the year. This is going to be a busy sprint that might feel more like a marathon, and especially if you've been going all year. So you want to encourage them to dress and feel and look their best. We have one client that their team member said, look, quite honestly, the reason I'm breaking dress code is because the branded jacket just doesn't fit like it used to. So she had this beautiful jacket / blazer, but quite honestly, it was just snugger. So it didn't fit her quite like it used to. Something that is as simple as ordering a new branded uniform and beautiful new piece of apparel, something like that is going to solve that issue, right? Maybe they aren't aware of the way that having very chipped nail polish on their nails comes across. So think about it. Really just lay out what the dress code is. So with that, those are your quick tips to help you ensure a successful holiday season. And of course, if you have any questions at all, I really encourage you to contact me, contact Jay, contact any member of our team. We are more than happy to talk you through how to help you through the holidays. Or if you want to jumpstart 2023, my gosh, I can't believe we're saying this already. We're here for you for that too. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening and watching another episode of Shorr Solutions, the podcast.